Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, depending on where you are. This is Gary with CEOJuice. Going to talk a little bit about CEOJuice and HubSpot. Talk a little bit about the panel we have here. We're then going to touch on why CEOJuice is so excited about HubSpot. Touch on some of the options that we're planning to roll out for HubSpot, some that we already have in the works and some that we think we may get to later. Then for those of you who want to stay on and don't know HubSpot particularly well, we're going to spend a few minutes covering that product. I have Ben with HubSpot here. Ben, you unmuted?
I'm here. How's everybody doing today? Very nice to meet you all.
And we're going to introduce Lindsay Keller and Darrell Amy with prospectbuilders.net. So CEOJuice is essentially looking to push some list data into HubSpot, but we're not planning to do a whole lot with content. And Lindsay and Darrell would be the guys you would talk to if you want to hire somebody to do that for you. So any questions at any time, just hit the question option or hit the chat option. So talking a little bit about why we're so excited about HubSpot. So buyers are researching online much more so today than they did in the past, and they're able to get a lot of information online and are much more informed before they contact sales. So knowing who is doing the research and what they're researching, we feel is really valuable data to have a better understanding of who's an actual prospect. And then being able to interact with those people as they research by automating responses based on specific page views gives you an even better feel for who's interested, who opens your responses, etc. And hopefully get you a better feel for where exactly in the buying process they are and be better able to determine when sales needs to get involved. And we're going to touch on data augmentation as well, which is this concept of your CRM or HubSpot in this case already having all of the company information inside it. They have something like 19 million companies in North America. So you don't have to go enter all that data. HubSpot already has it. You just got to identify which of those companies in there are potential customers for you. So we think that with a good solid sales process that we can start to automate a big chunk of this selling piece that can happen online before the sales team's involved. I'm going to show you the CEOJuice example in a moment. Understand that CEOJuice doesn't have a sales team, it's just me. I am a copier sales guy at heart, but when I originally started promoting CEOJuice, I used to do one-on-one webinars with potential customers, and those webinars could go for an hour or longer. And then one day I thought, well, hey, why not I just record it and point people towards the recording. And now with HubSpot, I'm able to fully automate that, and I'm able to tell who has watched the recording, and I'm able to remind people who have not watched the recording, and I'm able to automate probably 95% of the sales process. So I'm going to jump quickly to a recent example for you. And Ben, shout if there's any questions. So this is an example of a customer who visited our website yesterday. So if you scroll down to the bottom, we can see that the source here was an organic search. So this customer Googled us essentially, and then you can see all of the different page visits that this customer viewed. We have a lot of different information online, and you can tell which of the pages they visited it. And then at some point, they sent us an email, which again is tracked in here in the CRM. And you can see my response to that email. My response included a few more links. And you can see which of those links that prospect clicked on. And at some point, they filled in a form on our website. And we captured some information on the company and the job role of that person. And then you can see that continue to look at a bunch of different pages and then send some more emails. And so this customer did not exist in our CRM before they visited. And so HubSpot automatically knew who they were, knew who the parent was, and has all this information, you know, the industry, the phone number, city, address, all of that HubSpot already knew. So I didn't have to put any of this information in there. And then if I change a filter up here just to clean this up a little bit, and we'll just, we'll take out page views because there's a lot of those. We'll just look at workflows. And you'll see that based on certain page visits, we were able to email people. So we're able to potentially email the sales guy just to say, hey, this page has been visited. For us, if somebody's looking at our pricing page, it's typically an example that, you know, they're starting to get more interested. But we're also able to email the customer based on, or the prospect, I should say, based on page view, and then include additional links in that and see where they get to. So, kind of summarizing that example, we have a visit to our website from a Google search. The contact didn't exist in the CRM before that search. The contact and HubSpot are essentially updating the CRM for you. You're able to see exactly what pages that particular person viewed. From that, you're able to understand where in the sales process they are. You're able to automate some emails based on those specific page visits, and you're even able to automate follow-up emails. So you can say, hey, you know, if in 10 days we haven't heard any more from this person, let's send them this email. And then we can notify sales at the appropriate time. So this concept of forms, and HubSpot implements this really nicely because you can ask people for a little bit of extra data each time they visit, but essentially means that your prospect is updating the CRM for you, and then that data is getting augmented by HubSpot data. So we're looking at offering this new service, working with HubSpot. We are a HubSpot reseller, and if you purchase HubSpot through us, we're not charging any additional fee. But if you don't get HubSpot through us, we will be charging an additional fee, and that's essentially because HubSpot gives us a lead, which covers our cost. And then our initial service is just going to be about lists, and we'll talk a little bit about lists next. So our list information is essentially the same sort of data that we are currently highlighting for you. So we have a process 593, one of our more popular processes for the sales guy, where every time a service call is placed, we try to decide, does the sales guy need to know about it? Excuse me. So the classic example might be if a service call was placed and the lease was almost up on that piece of equipment, could the sales guy call and say, hey, instead of us putting money in to fix this, how about you move on that quote? But it could also be that the equipment's really old. Maybe the equipment's 6, 7, 8 years old. You decide what really old is. Maybe the model's been discontinued or service has been discontinued. Perhaps the volume is too high, or perhaps there's been too many service calls on that particular piece of equipment. So ID 593 currently will tell ideally your salesperson, but perhaps you have it going to your sales manager about those service calls. What we're looking to do instead is create lists of those people within HubSpot, lists that can be marketed to so that you can start to see who's actually interested, so you can qualify those leads a little bit better. 789 is a new process we're building specifically for HubSpot, but you don't have to have HubSpot to use it. It's essentially identifying which customers are not using all of your key services. So if you're a typical copier dealer, you might have copiers and managed print and be getting into managed IT and perhaps have some wide format or some 3D printing. And what we're trying to do is identify the customers who are not using all of your key services, but whose profile says that they should be. And for Juice customers, if you start with our MIF analysis, which is ID 923, the key for us to be able to identify these customers for you is to be able to make sure you're categorizing stuff properly. So if you want to check and see, who's using document management services, you got to understand how you're categorizing your document management products. Another thing we think we should highlight is promoters. Who has scored you high in the Net Promoter Score? Who are fans? Who's saying good things about your company? Who are your most profitable customers? So, for example, if we're able to look in HubSpot and by pulling all of this data together, highlight a customer who's a big fan, who loves you, they're a promoter, they're a very profitable customer for you, but they're only using one of the 3 services that they should be using based on their business profile. So these are all lists that we would create, and it's really down to you guys as to what you think is relevant. We have lists of customers who typically buy toner from you but haven't placed an order in X number of months. We already have these processes for you. What we're planning to do with HubSpot is create those lists within HubSpot so that we can market, or you can market to them and see who's actually interested in the services before you pass it on to sales. So that's our kind of initial offering. Looking further than that, we definitely see some opportunity for trying to push some of that data back, trying to keep some of that data in sync. HubSpot does tend to generate a lot of duplicates as the customers are essentially updating the CRM themselves. Compass is working on an integration, although they're at the early stage, but we may be able to do some help there. As the reps see the potential in tracking who's visiting the site, and HubSpot will do things like tell the rep, when an email's opened and if it's been passed on to somebody else, and what links that person has clicked and where on the site they went from there. And so there's a lot of incentive for the reps to track the emails that they're sending to prospects. Well, if we start to look at that from a big picture point of view, we're able to tell which of the emails your reps are sending are gaining traction. In other words, which reps are sending emails that your customers are interacting with versus who's just throwing stuff out there that nobody's interested in. We think that would be useful information for your VP of sales to know about. Getting the correct information at the correct time to the right salesperson. Perhaps even help automate some of this research phase for these prospects by helping build automation. We think that HubSpot Forms is a big opportunity. Having customers not just kind of give you the CRM basic data, but for example, we have some documentation around setting equipment up network ready before it ships from your shop. So the kind of old way was you ship the stuff out and then you sent the network engineer, and that guy was on site for maybe an hour or an hour and a half connecting it to the network and setting up email addresses or perhaps fast dial numbers for faxes, etc. And all of that stuff can be set up at the shop, and you can A, save the cost of sending that network tech out. Those tend to be expensive guys. But B, have the customer down for a minimum amount of time. So you send a guy out who sets the box up and plugs in the network cable, and everything else is done. And the challenge with all of that is getting a lot of that network data back from your customers in advance. And we think things like forms where you can collect the data and you can chase the person if they haven't filled the form out. We think there's a lot of potential for that type of area in HubSpot. HubSpot is essentially inbound marketing, but in our opinion, it's almost a full-blown CRM. It's only been around as a CRM for about a year. Is that right, Ben? You could confirm? I've been talking too long.
Was on mute there for a sec. Yep, that is correct. So we've been around as a CRM about the last year. We were really lightweight to start, and we're continually building out that platform. But we have over 5,000 clients using HubSpot CRM functionality, as it's a free add-on for the HubSpot platform.
And we think the CRM is getting to the point where it might be all you need. It's evolving rapidly, so every week almost we see improvements. There's a URL on the screen there, which is hub.ceojuice.com /improve CRM. If you're an existing HubSpot user and you want to sign up at that page, there are certain parts of the CRM we feel are missing, and if we could get all of the copier guys kind of on the same page asking for the same improvements, HubSpot's pretty good at listening to what people ask for. So I'm going to pass over to Ben, who's going to spend a little time touring the product. Those of you who already know HubSpot don't necessarily need to stay on. I have a URL at the bottom for those who want a little bit more information, hub.ceojuice.com /HS sign up. And I'll be posting these links next to the recording of the video. So I'm going to turn over to Ben. Ben will make you the presenter here. And I'll let you know when we can see your screen. Great. So over to you, Ben.
All right. Great. Can you hear me clearly, Gary?
I can, yes, thank you.
Gary, can you hear me?
Yes, Ben. Well, I can hear you fine, sorry.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure we can hear me. Great. So what we're looking at right now, and great introduction, Gary. Thanks for explaining how CEOJuice will work with HubSpot for your clients. Definitely excited as well. What we're looking at here is the inbound methodology. So I imagine this is new to many people, but really this is what HubSpot started as an idea, just kind of 8 years ago now. Grown to about 15,000 customers, just for an overview there. and are now a publicly traded company as of October 2014. What you're looking at here is the idea behind HubSpot, right? So everybody has the goal of getting customers and promoters, and in your case, sometimes cross-selling, upselling, reselling customers as well. And getting to that point means attracting the right types of strangers to our site. So what Gary didn't talk a lot about is what we call the top of the funnel tools. So how can we do keyword research to drive in the right type of people, create actual content, blog content on our website, not that's about us, but that's actually answering questions for our clients. This is where a partner like Prospect Builder or someone else might come in to create this content, or it's a really good place for you guys in-house if you have a marketing team or one or two people to start creating this content using the HubSpot tool. Everybody talks about social media. We want to make sure we're actually using social media with a purpose, right? So that's social publishing, monitoring to make sure we're tracking our keywords and our brand as well. Once we have those visitors to our site, this is where it gets fun. And we start to think about, all right, how can we convert these people into leads? What a lead is anybody who fills out a form. So you come to you Google what is inbound marketing. This is actually the first page you'll see on Google. You click on this. And then you read, what is inbound marketing, all of this right here. You get to the bottom and you can click Get Inbound Certified. This is what we call a call to action. It'll take you to a landing page where you fill out a form, and then from there, voila, you have somebody that you can track every time they come back to their site. So that's what getting a lead is. And again, you're doing all of this in HubSpot: keyword research, blog, social, form creation, landing page creation, call to action creation. Now, once you have the lead, that's when the list segmentation and the marketing automation comes in, right? So we want to list, an example Gary gave, and then we want to email those people and then say, all right, well, if you clicked one email, we want to send you email 2. If you didn't click one email, maybe we want to resend you email 1. Something along those lines. That's kind of a if this, then that logic behind email marketing. The idea behind doing this all in one place as opposed to 15, 20 different tools is obviously streamlining efficiency, but also streamlining your reporting efforts so we can really track what's working and what's not. HubSpot actually uses HubSpot, so today we're going to take a little bit of a look inside the HubSpot portal with our real data as well as a dummy portal so you can see what it looks like to build something as well. What we're looking at right now, I'll start left to right. Just at the top here, we're in the main dashboard and we're in the marketing portal. Click in, get in the sales portal, which we might do later if we have time. We can then jump back to the marketing portal. We have our content tab here. So this is where you would do the content creation. Again, blogging, landing pages, emails, calls to actions, campaigns. Social, publishing, monitoring, reporting. Contacts, this is where most of what Gary was talking about, really kind of the meat and the tricky part is. It's in list segmentation, workflow, marketing automation, form creation, and lead scoring. And then reporting, so things from, how are we doing compared to our competitors? How are we doing ranking for certain keywords? And then sources report, which is going to be a very, in-depth overview of all of our marketing channels. So what we're looking at here, and then a content calendar, and then the HubSpot Academy, which is where you learn everything about inbound marketing. You'll see these pop-ups as we go through the demo in the top right. That's the HubSpot tool sidekick, $10 a month. What I do is I get notified anytime someone views a page that's the lead in my name. I also see when people are clicking and opening my emails. So it looks like these are leads in my names that have been viewing pages, and these are the pages he's viewed. What I can see here are the buyer personas that we have, right? So there's multiple people we're trying to attract, just like you have different clients, we have different types of clients. For us, it could be Agency Annie, who might be, the president of a small marketing agency. Corporate Kathy is more, CMO of a 1,000-person plus company, something like that. And then when they plug in their information saying, hi, I'm the VP of marketing at a 1,000-person company, they'll automatically be grouped in this bucket. So we can see how are we doing at driving the right type of leads, how many of those leads are marketing qualified, which means they fit a certain lead score, and then how many of those actually turn to customers. So using the HubSpot CRM, or we integrate with Salesforce, we have about 5,000 customers using that integration. We can do, Sugar, Dynamics, Zoho, whatever you want for the most part. To close that loop there. Go a little bit further down, we can see in the past 90 days, how does our marketing look compared to the previous 90 days? So visits, leads, customers. We can see 90 days year over year. If you look, hey, let's just look at this month compared to our goals. So giving us that, kind of morning cup of coffee look at how everything's performing. Landing pages, blogs, emails. This is going to give you, again, kind of 30,000-foot view of how certain things are performing. And we can customize this to show whatever we want.
And Ben, I think it's worth noting here that, you could do what HubSpot does by getting a whole bunch of products together. The magic that I see with it is that you have one place that's pulling everything together versus getting one tool for your landing page and another tool to tell you for page visits, etc.
Exactly. We have this page called FrankenSpot that actually speaks to that, right? So if you're trying to build HubSpot with pieced together tools because you think it'll save you money or you think you have a good way to do that, to actually build all or most of HubSpot's functionality, you need about 35 tools. And then, the real cost is the sticker price versus the real cost, which is loading 15 support lines, a number of different tools for people to learn, not to mention just remembering all your different passwords.
I tried that just as an FYI. We tried pulling different pieces together, and it just takes too much time, especially if you don't have an IT guru who totally understands how to build landing pages easily, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely worth noting. And if you feel, I'll name some tools right now that people piece together. And if you're saying, oh, well, that's me, then it's probably worth us having a conversation. SEO Moz, Hootsuite, SEMrush, Yoast for WordPress, Unbounce, Lead Pages, FormStack, Marketo, Pardot, Salesforce, all those different tools. If you're using probably more than 2 of them, you're probably costing yourself money in the long run. So it's definitely something for worth having a deeper conversation with if any of you would like to discuss that. So the first thing we want to do is kind of look at our organizational functionality here. This is just a content calendar. This is HubSpot again. So we can see, all right, looks like next Thursday. Here are the tweets that we have planned. Here's an email we have planned. Looks like Saturday, October 10th. We have 2 blog posts we're planning on putting out, 3 tweets. And you can even assign tasks in here as well if you want. I'm not going to spend too much time here, just so you can see what that looks like, and we'll actually email out to that person, and it'll show up here. One of the first things we want to do, and you'll either work with a HubSpot partner or a HubSpot consultant for this, is after you get your buyer personas and you figure out who they are and can really hammer down and identify them, we'll actually want to start doing keyword research for our content. What we're looking at here are the HubSpot keywords we want to rank for. And it's not just things like, oh, of course we want to rank for HubSpot, but the way people use Google today is they're asking questions and hope someone can answer them. So when someone says, how do I write a blog? How do I use Excel? These are good things for HubSpot to be ranking for because we can kind of help here. So Excel for marketing budget templates, how to write a blog, of course, that's kind of our forte. Best Facebook pages, what is inbound marketing. You see how many visits estimated we've generated to our site this month so far from these keywords. Where we currently rank on Google, if we're trending a certain way. Obviously, if you're past 10, you're on the second page. I challenge you to think about when the last time you went to the second page of Google was. So really 1 through 10 or you're invisible. Difficulty, the score is a custom algorithm we built, 100 being the most difficult, 1 being the easiest. None of you are going to come in and rank for the word copy. That's not going to happen. So we want to think about longer tail keywords, specific product offerings, troubleshooting questions people may have, customer service questions, and then blog around those. Cost per click, so if any of you do AdWords, you know that can get very expensive and you're basically paying for your placement. If you were to take that off, you might see a certain chunk of change or chunk of leads disappear. So what we want to do is we want to own that space by ranking organically versus just renting it with AdWords. We can actually see if we were to use AdWords how much we'd be spending this month alone so far. So it's October 9th and we spent $50,000. We would have spent $50,000. And then monthly searches, Obviously more is better there. What we do with that information then is we create content around it. So this is a HubSpot blog. We can publish to every CMS other than Wix. We can see it's optimized for mobile. It's going to be optimized for tablet as well, so you can see what that looks like. And then, of course, regular computers, regular desktops. It's a WYSIWYG editor, so what you see is what you get. As I create content, the left-hand side pops up there on the right. You can also see an SEO view. So what this is doing is saying, hey, here's what you put in your subject line. Here are keywords that we found in your keyword tool that looks like you're probably trying to rank for. We'll also put in lead generation, email marketing, company email lookup. Select those keywords, and then as I type the words inbound marketing, it's going to tell me that now we have 3 target keywords in our blog post. We have the right length, keywords in the title, but we don't have any internal links, so maybe we want to add that. Next thing it's telling me is, hey, we don't have any calls to action in this blog post. As I said earlier, call to action is basically a button to get somebody to click and fill out a landing page. But what most people do, and I would imagine what everybody on this call is doing, is calls to actions are the same no matter who you are and what you're interested in. What we want to do is create a smart call to action. What that means is if somebody's a lead, we want them to get a different button than if somebody's a customer. So if Gary were to come to the HubSpot site, he's going to get a very different call to action being a HubSpot partner than, say, Joe from XYZ company who's never even heard of HubSpot before. So what this looks like, for example, let's use this one, right? Customer versus regular. And we click that, and then we see here's what it would look like for somebody who's regular, and we can view the preview as if somebody's a customer as well. Again, you're going to get a little more feedback here, image optimization, meta optimization. We can say who's the author, tag our meta description, and then publish out at a following date and time, or right now, as well as schedule to auto-publish to our social channels.
And let me just jump in on a point there.
The last piece, go ahead, Gary.
Ben, I was just going to say, so many of us will either post something on LinkedIn or tweet about something when we find something of interest. But this whole concept behind HubSpot of scheduling it just means that you're putting stuff out on a nice regular basis, and your customers or prospects are getting used to regular contact information. I think that's kind of a cool feature. I just wanted to mention that.
Right. Yeah. What social is social is a megaphone for your existing content. Like the fact of the matter is, you need to blog in order to really see a steady increase in driving traffic in your website. And if you're going to blog, you might as well tweet it out to see if you can get some traction on sharing. So what this looks like then here, as we're publishing content, everything will pull up right here. I'm actually going to jump. Oops, excuse me. I'm actually going to jump into HubSpot's publishing tool so you can see what it's like for real data. We can see here are all of our different posts. Here's how many clicks and interactions we've gotten. Looks like this has 6 clicks, 7 interactions. We click in here and we can see who are the people that have +1'd it. You see what campaign it's associated with. So if you guys have a new product offering, an event or something like that, you want to promote it, you can do that there. You can also monitor for keywords. So if you want to monitor for your brand name, hashtags, competitors, anything you want. And then we'll actually say, oh, it looks like JS Marketing tweeted about inbound, and they're a subscriber in our database. Where it looks like Growth Hacker is a lead in our database. Marks an opportunity. And so actually understanding, all right, like who is tweeting about us, what are we doing? Not just to have social media, but to do it for the purpose of driving customers. And then being able to measure that in our social reporting. What we're looking at here, published messages, 29, that's down 34% from last month at this point. Clicks, down 37%. Interactions, down 14%. So if you were just looking at this information, you'd say, oh, HubSpot's having a bad social month. But as you guys know, what matters is the bottom line. So what we want to go is we want to say, all right, net new fans and followers. Oh, website. Looks like we're up 41% from website visits from social media. We're up 33% from leads. We're down 5% for customers. So we have 19 versus last month. This time we had 20 just from social media. Do the same thing for platforms and channels as well. So if we think about this inbound methodology, we've taken a look at most of the attract phase now. This is kind of the most time-intensive part, is creating that content and being able to blog twice a week. Again, we can talk about options for doing that most successfully. The CEOJuice is really going to be most helpful here in this phase. What you're getting a look at is here's like a campaign. So when I say attach things to a campaign for your product or service offering, we had Guy Kawasaki, who was Steve Jobs' right-hand man at Apple, give a social media webinar for us last January. To promote that event, we tagged 5 keywords, 5 landing pages, 41 emails, 2 calls to actions, 1 blog post, and 1 other source, and 1 marketing automation campaign as being related to this. And as such, we were able to get a holistic view of visits, leads, and customers. We can see which of our 5 landing pages was most successful, visits, leads, customers. And of course, we could click into each of the landing pages as well and see what they look like. Now, creating a landing page is another thing you do in HubSpot. So again, just like the blog, we'll skim the look and feel of your site. That's something we do for every client, so you don't have to worry about, oh, what does it look like? It's going to look like your site, and it's going to get you the SEO credit as well. This is just a sample template I created. You can customize it with HTML or CSS, or it's just drag and drop. For those of you that don't know how to code like me, I don't like to spend my time doing that. I don't know how to do it, and so that's going to be automatic. First thing we're going to do is actually build a smart form. So like Gary said, you want the prospects to fill out the CRM themselves. So let's call this CEOJuice Webinar 1. Create this form. Some good questions that are worth asking off the bat. First name, last name, email. I'm going to go ahead and star these, meaning they're required. Maybe I also want to ask somebody what their job role is. Great, so we just drag and drop there. Or maybe I want something that doesn't come standard in HubSpot. There's a lot that does come standard here, and this is a dummy portal, so there's a lot that I've plugged in. But let's just plug in, are you Gary from CEOJuice? Single line, no. Let's go ahead and make it a drop down. Let's say yes, no, not sure. Save that property. It's going to pull up right here, and again, I can drag and drop. So now the first time someone comes to my site, this is what they're seeing on this form. First name, last name, email, job role, are you Gary from CEOJuice? The top 3 I've starred to make mandatory, and then the bottom 2 right now aren't mandatory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make these smart, actually. So I'm clicking this button here. What this means is the next time somebody comes to my site, if they've already filled out this form, I'm not going to just ask them the same question and essentially waste that visit. They've already expressed that they trust me because they filled out a form once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask more questions so I can learn more. Maybe I'm going to ask them their phone number. So I'll do that here. Or maybe I'll ask them their budget, something a little bit more, invasive, I guess you could say. Great. I'm going to save and close. And then as that saves, the next time I were to come back to the site, when I refresh the page, you will see that actually on the form, or on the landing page. Once I refresh it here in a second. So what we will do, what we'll actually do then is we'll look at how to create more content on the landing page as well. For some reason that did not save. So what we can do is we can personalize all of our landing pages. Let's say, I wanted to refer to somebody by their first name when they came back to the site. Hi, first name. Welcome back to HubSpot. How are things at company? Or in your case, how are you liking, and then you can plug in whatever product they used, right? So how are you liking product 1? Based on the information and that you store in the CRM. A couple other ways we can make this smart is, again, we want someone to have different messages based on who they are. So if they're coming from a different country, device type or referral source, or contact list or life cycle stage. So we'll say, all right, if you're a lead, this is what we want leads to see versus, customers. I'll come back. Customer. So now we have a few different SKUs of the same landing page, just based on, without recreating the wheel. So being able to copy paste that content and do that there. You also see we have A/B testing in our enterprise package that we can talk about, as well as HTML for customization, CSS for customization, and then publishing. So publish it now, schedule publishing, or have it expire at a date and time if it's like a landing page for registration for an event or for a webinar, which is what we do here.
And again, I would just want to add how easy that stuff is to use. I mean, and it's the same format, whether you're creating a blog or whether you're creating a landing page. It's basically the same tools laid out the same way. And once you figure one out, the others are easy.
Yeah. Exactly. And so after someone fills out a form, that's when we can track everything they do. So this is Greg. This pulled from data enrichment here. Greg came by and downloaded a HubSpot ebook 7 years ago. So let me go ahead and bring you back 7 years in Greg's life cycle. Download the Internet Marketing Kit, November 17th, 2008. From that point on, we can track every single thing Greg's done. Every page he's viewed. If we get up here a little bit, actually, you can see when we launched our email marketing tool, we can see, May 2014, he was clicking. We had launched it before then, but this is May 2014. He started clicking our emails, started opening them, started downloading all these forms, which tells me as a sales rep, hey, I should probably reach out to this guy. When he views a pricing page or when he views a product page, we've set up internal notifications so that the owner of the lead gets notified. So if I were to go to CEOJuice.com, /pricing, maybe if that was a page, Gary could have us set up something where he gets notified. That way he can say, hey, I saw you were looking at pricing. Do you have any questions?
Let me just sorry, Ben, I was just going to make a point on that. We actually do have that set up, and some people think that it's a little invasive, but I would say that if you think of yourself as a technology company who's looking to do things like sell IT services, then having tools in place to be able to track who's visiting sites, etc., just shows that you're in tune with technology. You're up to date with using the very latest technology, and I personally don't think it's invasive, but there's obviously a right and a wrong way to chase people when they do visit specific pages.
Right? Yeah, and you're not trying to say, hey, I caught you, right? So a good thing to do might be to program a workflow where when somebody views a pricing page, we send them emails, and I'll show you how to do that. But before we get there, we have an integration with GoToWebinar as well, and like Eventbrite for events, and so we can see, oh, it looks like Greg attended this event. Here's the questions and answers that he plugged in as well. And there we go. Now, the reason we do this isn't, again, just to be creepy and to stalk people. It's so we can actually inform our marketing team on how to make better decisions and give Greg the right piece of content. If Greg's coming to HubSpot and downloading something on blogging, we want to give him an email that's more about blogging. We don't want to give him an email that's about, let's say, email. So this is what we can do. We can segment lists, right? And this is the list tool that Gary referenced. So let's say I want to create a list of, warm leads pricing page. So this is going to be a smart list. So as people set this rule, they're going to be added to it. First rule, because we want it to be warm leads who view the pricing page, is going to be page view. So I want people that have visited the exact URL, HubSpot.com/pricing. I'm going to refine this. I'm going to make it, I want people who viewed those rolling dates less than 30 days ago. I'm going to add another requirement here. The contact property, I wanted someone who's in a job role, decision maker. So let's say CEO, VP marketing, VP sales, VP IT, something like that. I also want somebody who has attended any of our webinars or registered any of our webinars as well as somebody, let's say, in the state of California. Okay. So the way we're filtering here are people that fit this criteria. You can do it with people who use a certain product, which I think is most of how you'll be using it. But you can really segment any which way. We're going to go ahead and save this list then. And now once we have this list, there's a number of things we can do. We can build a report around these people, build smart content just to show these people, model them on social, or trigger a workflow. This is where email comes in. So you're going to be building your email all in HubSpot. For the sake of time, it's just like building a blog and building a landing page. So I'm going to skip over that, and we can, if that's something you want to see more functionality of, we can certainly schedule more personalized time to do that. What we're going to do is we're actually going to go up here and create a new workflow. There's 3 different types. Property-based, which is based on a property in a CRM. Fixed date, which is a calendar date, a webinar, something like that. And standard, we're just going to do standard for today. Create this new workflow. And let's say, all right, so when somebody joins that list that I just created, I think it was warm leads pricing page, we want all contacts that are already enrolled in that and anybody who's ever added to that to go through this workflow. So the first thing we're going to do is send an email. Email is going to be one of the emails we've created in the email tool. Let's just say email or promotional email 1 for today. Then what we're going to do is delay for 4 days. And then send another email. This will be promotion email 2. Now, it's not always this boring, I promise. So what we want to do then is say, all right, if they have clicked a link in promotion email 2, and this will pull up all the links that are in promotion email 2 so we can pick. Looks like we're stuck with 1 right now. We'll save that. So if they've clicked that link, then what we want to do is send an internal email to the owner of the lead, and it'll be a notification email. We'll call it that. Whereas if they haven't done that, what we'll do is delay for another 4 days, send promotion email 3. So you can do a lot with this, right? We can trigger, all right, well then if they do that, we want to add them to this list. You can go down a really great rabbit hole. But the point is we want to set a goal. So the goal we're going to set today is ideally, if someone's like in this interest level, what we want them to do is submit a form requesting a consultation. That is why we're setting up this workflow. Like any marketing, we want to set a goal. So we've set this goal, and we can see here's how many we started with. Here's the criteria. The people that met that goal criteria and submitted that form submission. And so then we can see a conversion rate and actually track this, attach an ROI to our efforts. Final thing is the sources report. We want to get a really holistic view of all of our marketing. I'm in a dummy portal right now, so I'm going to jump back to the regular old HubSpot. And we want to see, all right, month to date, here's how many visits we've gotten to our site. Here's how many leads we've gotten from those visits, and here's how many customers we've gotten from those leads and visits. We get our conversion rates right here as well. And then we can also see, all right, organic, referrals, social, email, paid, direct traffic, other campaigns. Let's click into referrals. What we see here are all of the different URLs that link to HubSpot. Looks like Forbes has generated us 402 visits, 14 leads, and a customer this month. Actually click into these 14 leads, see who they are, see what link, what they were reading on Forbes before they came to HubSpot, and then when the first time they saw HubSpot was. So not the first time they filled out a form, because that was this month, but when they first came to HubSpot. So I'm going to jump for like literally a minute or two into the CRM here. What you can see is it's the exact same UI. We have our contacts right here, so all of our contacts. Click in here. This is Nicole, her contact record. We can leave a note, send an email, use our templates from Gmail as well. Log activities, create tasks, and even schedule things in Google Calendar. Go to our companies tab. We have all of our companies. As Gary alluded to, you can also find companies. So we have a reverse IP lookup on website visits, or we have our insights database, where you can get a lot of information of, all right, I just want to sort by country, industry, and employees. Our deals tab, so we can actually keep track of our pipeline. The idea behind this is it's not meant to be for like extremely large sales teams right now. It's meant to be to help the sales rep. Most CRMs are there only to help the VP of sales. They're only there to say, okay, we want to be able to manage people. Well, this is saying, all right, well, we want to help salespeople sell. And so this is going to give you that type of insight there. For the sake of time, I'm going to kind of leave it there, and we can certainly talk further on CRM functionality. But Gary, I'll kick it back over to you here.
Hey, thanks for that, Ben. I would just make the point that this is by far the most sophisticated piece of software I've ever used, and the potential just blows my mind. It takes a long time to understand all of what it can do for you, but we're definitely excited. So again, thanks for your time, Ben. hub.ceojuice.com/HS sign up, and then I'll be sending an email out with a copy of this recording. So thanks everyone for your time.
Thanks everybody.